Hey guys, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have got a TBR for you guys. If you follow me on Instagram, I want to mention two things. One is that, like I've mentioned on my Instagram, I don't typically do TBRs. You know, originally I was like, I don't like putting restrictions on myself. I'm too indecisive when I read, or I lose ambition, and most of my slumps have happened when I've put kind of restrictions on myself and like made myself read certain books, and I've changed my mind about them, but I already committed to them. But I realized that I can put guidelines on myself and still change the rules because it's my TBR and I can do whatever I want. I think I was just overthinking it and putting too much stock into it. So I have decided to go ahead and start doing TBRs on my YouTube channel. So that's what I'm gonna do for you guys today. I also want to mention, because I mentioned Instagram earlier, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen maybe a week or two ago that I had posted a video with my cat and I had her pick my TBR for September. So the books that I had her pick are in here, but I've of course added some on because I only made her pick 3. So I have added this into my stack that I have. So it'll be those plus some other books that I decided that I also wanted to read as of right now. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So the first book I have for you guys is one that I've actually already read, and it was one that my cat Leia had picked for me in that video, and that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. For those of you who have been, I guess, under a rock like me and have not read this book or are deciding to pick it up for the first time. This book is about a woman named Claire. We meet her in the 1940s. That's where her story starts. Her and her husband Frank are on a vacation in the Scottish Highlands because he's doing some genealogy research on one of his ancestors. Things kind of go awry when Claire ends up traveling back into the past. She ends up in 1743, but she's still in the Scottish Highlands, and it's at the height of a terrible war. It's time travel, it's historical fiction, which I love, and it's also romance. It's very sweet romance. I actually really loved that. And overall, I generally liked this book. I won't say too much because I don't want to give too much away, and I do want to save some of my thoughts and feelings on this book for my wrap up. I will say that I waffled on giving this book a rating. I still don't even think I rated it on Goodreads yet because I wasn't sure what to rate it even after the fact when I was really thinking about it critically, like what I thought about the book. So I'm still struggling with rating it, but I did generally enjoy this book. So the next book I decided to add to my TBR is the first book in the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, and the first book is called The 100,000 Kingdoms. So this book is about this girl named Yain. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it correctly. That's how I'm pronouncing it. And she is summoned to her grandfather's kingdom and is requested to essentially battle for the throne, and I believe she has to battle against her, I think they're her cousins, for their right to the throne. But that's all I know, and that could also be incorrect. So take that synopsis with a grain of salt because I don't know. I'm really excited to read this book. One, because I really want to get back into fantasy, and two, it is a fantasy book about a woman of color or an individual of color. And I'm really excited to read it. I really hope that this is one of the books that can throw me back into fantasy world because I've missed it so much. I really haven't been reading fantasy lately. During the summer, I was definitely on a contemporary romance kick. So I am ready for some good fantasy reads. So the next book I plan to read this month, and it's actually next on my TBR, I'm planning to pick this one up next, is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So I've never read a Victoria Schwab book. I have had this book for forever, and I'm finally deciding to pick it up and read it. I don't even have to love this book. I want to be in the loop, finally. I want to get it. So I'm reading this one next because I'm really determined to finish it. I have started and stopped this book so many times. It's quite embarrassing. So this time I am determined to actually finish it. Oh, also, I guess I'll give you a synopsis, even though I'm the last person on earth to actually read it. This book is about a guy named Kel who is a magician who can travel through worlds. He travels through, I believe, in the same, like, there's like a kind of, what's the word? I can't think of what I'm trying to say. There's like a focus point in each world where he can travel between, I don't know. Anyway, there's like 3 different types of London. There's red London, there's white London, and there's gray London. So gray London is like the mortal world London, like the London we know. Red London is his London, where I guess other magicians live. I don't know. I haven't finished the book. And then white London, I guess, is like the bad place. It's like scary London. That was the worst. That's probably so wrong and people hate me. Anyway, that's my synopsis and I'm sticking to it. So the next book that I plan to read is actually a reread. This again was another one that Leia picked for me on my Instagram, and that is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. I'm very excited to reread this again because, well, first of all, I haven't read A Reaper at the Gate and I need to like catch up because the 4th book comes out. I think it's this year. And if it's not, it's next year, which is right around the corner. At the rate this year is flying by. So, yeah, I'm really excited to reread this. I just need a refresher. So I figured I'll just reread them all over again. I don't mind because they're so freaking good. It's not a hassle for me, you know? I'll pick up these books in a heartbeat. You feel me? This book is about a girl named Laya whose brother actually gets arrested for treason. And in order to rescue him, she decides to join the rebellion and be a spy for them. And in return, they're going to help her rescue her brother. It is a very, very intense fantasy dystopian book. And like, I remember reading this book for the first time and like my heart was like racing because this book is so intense. Keeps you on the edge of your seat, honestly. It's such good writing. Again, this is one of those things that everyone has read at this point, but if you haven't, I highly recommend it. So then the next book that I plan to read, again, is another one that Leia picked for me, and that is The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. This is a contemporary romance. This is the only contemporary romance I have in my TBR this month. Partially because I read just about every single contemporary romance book that I own last month. Anyway, this book is about a girl named Nicole who goes to a Dodgers game with her boyfriend where he proposes to her and she says no in front of everyone. And while this is all happening, a guy named Carlos, who is also at this game, sees this and sees the embarrassment and humiliation that ensues. And I guess throughout the book, he kind of helps her while all this media attention is focused on her for being the woman who rejected a proposal at a baseball game in front of a bunch of people. So I'm assuming romance ensues and cuteness and all that stuff. I'm really excited to read this because, again, like I said, I've been on a contemporary romance kick. I love contemporary romance. I've read a lot of really good ones lately, and I'm sure this will be good. Our main characters are also people of color, so I'm very excited to read this. So the next book I have is a book that, again, this one is another reread, and it's also massive. So if I don't finish it, I'm not going to be too broken up about it. It's not top priority, but I do want to still take some time and like read it. I don't know why I was trying to think of the word read. I still want to take some time out in the month to work through this one because, again, it's huge and it's going to take me a while to get through. But yeah, that book is The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This book is about the building of a cathedral in the 12th century. We follow a pretty wide cast of characters. We follow the builder of the cathedral who literally his life's ambition is to build the cathedral, basically kind of to like buy his way into heaven, which was the way of thinking back then. It's like, oh, it grants you kind of like absolution, and if you build something for God, you finna be up there. You know what I mean? Like that was his thing. And then there's also the prior Philip, who wants to run the cathedral. So they work very close together for most of the book, working on ways to get the money and the funds. He really has to like go above and beyond to like get this cathedral going. We also meet Jack, who is a sculptor and the stepson of the builder Tom, who has his own journey himself. And then Aliena, who is the daughter of an earl who ends up falling into, I guess, like destitution, and has to kind of build herself from the ground up and help her brother become a knight. And it's so good. It's really more a story about people during the 12th century, and it's very interesting. It's very fascinating. I really love this book. It is obviously historical fiction. If you like historical fiction, like this is one of the big ones, physically as well as just like figuratively. Everybody knows this book who knows like historical fiction, I feel like. So yeah, I'm planning on rereading it, and I'm planning on annotating it. I have never annotated books. I've never written in my books before. This is the first one, and I've already kind of gone ham. Yeah, I've kind of already gone ham on this book. So I do want to make some more headway in terms of annotating. I started annotating this, I think it was either late July or early August. My goal, I think, is to at least get halfway through it this month, because again, it's big and I have a lot of other big books that I need to get through. So it's definitely not top priority, but it's still partially a priority. It wouldn't be in here if I didn't want to make some headway. And then the last book that I have, again, is another one that I've already read. I actually finished it today, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This book is about a man named Zachary. He's currently working on his graduate program in college when he stumbles upon a book in the library that kind of piques his interest. He finds some very peculiar things in this book, so he starts investigating. And one thing leads to another, and then he ends up stumbling upon this like secret society. And he realizes that things are definitely not what they seem. This book is a lot. And again, I already read it, and it's another one where I'm confused on how I want to rate it, because there's so much that goes on, and a lot of it really confused me. It's like dark academia mixed with magical realism, mixed with like mystery, and there's like twists and turns, and like trying to figure out who plays what part in this kind of ongoing story. And it's just a lot, and I got really confused for most of it, but I don't want to say too much. Again, this is another one where I'm really not sure how I want to rate it. I did finish it and overall enjoyed it, but I'll have to get back to you on the rating part because I'm really not sure. All right, guys, so that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and give a thumbs up, and if you'd like to, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much. If you've got to the end of this, I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys for my next video. Bye.